Welcome everyone, Organized Chaos here. I'm just joining this Europe 1919 match, and I chose Finland. Thing is, when I clicked on the game, it was 0 out of 26, so I am the first one to join, so I have the best advantage. So it gives me a couple seconds to maybe talk about the game here. So those of you who don't know, this is Iron Order 1919. It is a Vitro Labs studio game. They have they have a bunch of different games, and the most notable ones are all generally related to each other. They're all top-down map games like this. Their most popular game is the Call of War series, which I started to play, and that was my first Vitro game. And I tried this Vitro game out, and it turns out I like it more. The difference is between the two is, well, Call of War is fun, and I enjoyed it. How do I say? I guess it's more, there's a lot more calculating to do. It's much more nerdy in a sense. Like, the macro management of your army is highly important, and there's a lot of different levels and plays that go into it. The economies aren't necessarily even, which does play a role in what country you select and what sort of plays that you make. The movement speed is slower, but the battle scenes are 30 minutes. So what makes this game different is that you'll see some of the units here. There's lots of militia. Militia is really the most popular starting unit. So you have 15 militia, I think, to start with. 17 militia. You have a medium mech, which is a combat unit. It's an armored unit. We'll talk more about that. And infantry. So there's militia and infantry. You start off with 2 light tanks, something you didn't start off before. You started out with armored cars in Call of War. Well, armored cars are great because really they are defensive units to defend your territory. The only real defensive units, aside by being a noble doctrine, are generally militia, heavy mech, infantry, stuff like that. So, I am playing People's Republic of Finland. Alright, so I'm going to click on the newspaper, or no, it's diplomacy. And you'll see, just like Call of War and the other nations games, or other Vitro Lab games, there's different factions. And we'll recognize that hammer, well, it's not a sickle, it's more of a sword, but we recognize those colors, and that is communists. So yes, there's a communist faction. We have a capitalist faction, and we have a nobles faction. So we're going to click on this. You can click on any symbol to see the doctrine. It'll just go to the page. So we're going to click on communists. All right, so enhanced units. So each nation gets enhanced units. For a communist nation, you get, for an enhanced unit, commando is a special unit. Barracks level 2 required. So there's 3 levels of each production unit, or production building. And in this game, there's only up to level 3 production building, and the production building only corresponds to the unit. It does not change or increase or decrease production time like it does in Call of War. So that is different, and we'll get to the economy section in a few moments. So, commandos, all the other factions, to make a commando unit, you would require a level 3 barracks. However, communists only require a level 2. And the thing about the production buildings is that the resources really scale. So like level 1, you're paying, I don't know, nothing more than like $12.50 for a resource, but then you hit level 3 and you're paying, like, for a barracks, like you're paying 3K food. Like it steepens. Like the cost really goes up steep. So you're saving 3K resources for commandos, so you can actually, if you plan for it, get commandos out faster than any other nation. And then the other enhanced unit is Titans. Now, what is a Titan? You can kind of see it looks like there's planes and stuff like that. Well, it's a combat unit. It's it's a armored unit. It's a very heavy armored unit. It has a landing pad on top so it can carry planes. And it can also produce infantry to help conquer territories. We'll get more in depth of the Titan and what it does later on in the video. Faction traits. So each nation gets each faction gets faction traits, and they get 2 of them. So for the global change, this is global change and unit change, two categories. So we'll start with global change. Production, times minus 20%. So for every unit, that's why it's called global, every unit that you can make in the game, the production time is 20% less from default time. And what I mean by default is, I guess, standard time. So the other two factions, they don't really necessarily get bonuses for production. I think they do, but that's in unit change, which we'll get to next. So I would consider, the nobles and the capitalists, let's say, I don't know, a heavy mech is like 8 hours. For communists, it's maybe 7 hours, 10 minutes. I don't know off the top of my head. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comments below. And also, another big bonus is upkeep. So cost 30%. So each unit has an upkeep cost daily, so that adds to expenses, which factors into the amount of resources up here that you produce in an hour. So keep that in mind. So as communists, basically, for every 2 units that you produce, the third one is free in cost, essentially. A little, maybe 3.5, 3 and actually 1/3 to be technical. So basically, you get a third unit free almost, like 85% off. Really, maybe we'll call it 85% off. And obviously that plays a huge role in how many units you can have on the map, which means that, if your upkeep cost is cheaper, then that means there's more room for your economy, right? So there would be less expense, so you generate more an hour. And then, that translates into having the ability to produce more units because you have less expense. So as communists, you can produce more units in bigger stacks without really investing into a recruitment center. So that saves on a lot of resources right there alone. So really, communists are all about, everything about the faction is about cheap, 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 cheap. Reduce prices, more units. Keep in mind though, as communists, you'll see that maybe they don't have the same damage bonuses as the other factions. So keep that in mind. Alright, so conquer units. We're at unit change now. So this is only for the production units. So all your military units that you use to, conquer territory and destroy other units, etc., etc. So conquer units is your unarmored, generally, well actually they're not just unarmored, they're just infantry units. So conquer units. Alright, so the unit change is damage in urbans, 25% bonus. So for each urban province, here we'll click off. So each urban province here, this is the province where you construct buildings and produce units. So essentially, the communists actually, for infantry especially, get 75% damage bonus in urbans, opposed to only having 50% for other units. And I think motorized infantry gets 50% instead of 25%, and same with mechanized. So keep that in mind, that actually, when it comes to infantry units for communists are very good in urban situations. So anytime you're conquering provinces, it's good to send an infantry unit in if you see other light units inside. And even then, the bonus doesn't translate to strong, but it does go in, it does factor into mechanized or armored damage bonus as well. So if you meet up with armored units, you're taking less damage from them. You're not essentially killing them, but you're taking less damage. So it's harder for your opponents and your adversaries to take over your cities and conquered cities. So that's a really good bonus. Okay, so we'll just kind of blitz through the rest, and maybe I should do more in-depth videos for how to play this game later on. So combat units. Manpower costs 50% less. Wow. This bonus is so overpowered, to be quite honest with you. I play Finland now, this is my 4th time, and because I really enjoy Communist, just the sheer discount and manpower costs. You can, for every one combat unit you produce, you get the second one free of manpower charge. Free. Literally. I can't stress that. 1 and 2 units is, you get 1 unit, you get a second unit for every 1 unit you produce, essentially, in the manpower. So already, unit costs remember, upkeep costs are already minus 30%, so that does factor in to the manpower cost. So you always have extra man. So compared to the other two nations, you do have a little more manpower to play with. So you do not need to build recruitment centers for communists right off the bat. Simply just because, like, you just have you have a great advantage with upkeep costs. So every 1 out of 2 units is free, basically. Like 1 unit, one free. Like that's insane. Plus this bonus. So when you look at this, when you look at the sheer manpower cost, like you can tell the faction strongest trait is combat units. And also, to keep in mind, the Titan is also a combat unit. So compared to the other two factions, the manpower cost is halved. Oh, jeez. In my experience, it is just you can actually produce units as communists. Compared to the other two, you have to. However, they do get stronger units earlier on. Communists don't have that ability, but you do have the numbers. And keep in mind, the numbers do mean a lot. As Gregory House would say, the numbers. They never lie. Alright, so support units. Damage you get light, 30%. Pretty straightforward. Light units, support units get that. Keep in mind, obviously, it's only for light. Air units, well, this is a really good, I keep forgetting about this bonus too. Research time, 50% less. So for your air units, so the research tab here, to upgrade your units, you have to research the next level. And so clicking on the communist one here, we'll just go to air quickly. So these units here take a lot less time. So 36 seconds, 2 minutes 30, 2 hours 30. And for the Flying Fortress, which is the super unit for flying, 6 minutes. The other two, 12. 7 hours, 30 minutes, 15 hours for the other two. 10 hours, 30 minutes, 21 hours, other two. 14 hours, 28 hours, day, 4 hours, other two. 17 hours, 30 minutes. None of these go over a day. So when it comes to the Flying Fortress for communists, keep in mind that the research for it is halved in time. So this gives you the ability, if you, this is insane in my opinion, because you can maybe get away with actually researching and investing in 2 super units in a game, especially in bigger maps. This is a small map, so maybe not, but in small maps, it's really, like, it's almost the play every time. That's what it just feels like it gravitates to. Like, this is such a strong unit, and it's so fast to research. And the bonus is definitely better than, the Noble Doctrine. We'll talk about that later. Okay, so, going back to faction traits, we'll just go quickly, cut. So air units, 50%, that's just so good. And naval units, movement speed, just a flat 20%. So that's pretty straightforward, and it's very useful. It's really good for early game. But it does gas out in the later game because the capitalists get, I think, more movement speed. No, never mind. I'm wrong. I think it's just, fastest units, naval units in the game. Actually, no, I think they're on par technically with. Oh no, nobles is only 10%, right? We're gonna check that quickly together. Why not? Movement speed only times 10 or 10% global. So yes, they are the fastest naval units in the game, confirmed. So that's always really great too, to have speed in the water. You don't need big navies in this game. There's not a lot of pathways like there would be in Call of War. Like look at that. Like, you know, it's pretty straight line. There's like a couple here. There's a Call of War. Like there'd be like so many points to go to, and it's just like. So that's another great advantage about this game is that the games are smaller. The amount of units you need is less. Keep in mind that your production an hour, like if we look at this, it's kind of scary. Wow, only 119 an hour. Prices reflect the production time, so they scale correctly. So it's not a big deal at all. Um, you know, being the first one in here, maybe I should start getting military too. There.